Yashodanandana Braja Chanarandana Yashodanandana Braja Chanarandana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Chanabalabha Girivaradare Jaya Gopi Chanabalava Girivaradare Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Chanarandana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shirare Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Shri Radha Madhava ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Brahmanandi. Hare Krishna. So, das ist viel zu laut und das übersteuert auch. Und es übersteuert, weil es zu laut ist. Okay, Bhagavatam bräuchte ich noch bitte. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Hare Krishna. We will read now from Srimad Bhagavatam, from the 7th canto, chapter 5, entitled Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, and we read also the text 5. So, we hope that this lecture will be helpful for all of us. We know the reality of Srimad Bhagavatam lectures. They can be quite difficult at times. Everyone knows. So we hope that this lecture will not be so difficult, challenging, to get sleepy or something, right? So I hope I can entertain you, educate you, and convince you. These are the three ways of presenting any topic. Either it's very educating, so you learn many new things, interesting things, or old points which get shown in a fresh light, or the lecture is convincing, like Prabhupada was speaking always very convincingly, wanted to convince the audience of his points, or also some entertainment can also be there. So I hope we will make it through this 1 hour in this way, that it's not that we don't lose too many of you. That's the reality of some of us here. And the speaker sees it the best, and sometimes if half of the audience is gone, then he is a little bit mental. Oh no, what have I done? So, verse 5. So, this is a verse now spoken by Prahlad Maharaj to Hiranyakashipu, and quite strong verse actually also. Okay. Shri Prahladu Vacha Tat Sadhu Manye Suravarya Dehinam Tat Sadhu Manye Suravarya Dehinam Sada Samudvignadiyam Asatkrahat Sada Samudvignadiyam Asatkrahat Hidvatma Patam Kriyamanda Kupam Hidvatma Patam Kriyamanda Kupam Vanam Gato Yadharim Ashrayeta Vanam Gato Yat Dharim Ashrayeta. Yes, please. Shri Prahladu Vacha Manye Suravarya Dehinam Sada Samudvigyam Diyam Asatkrahat Hidvatma Patam Kriyam Andakupam Vanam Gautam Yadarim Ashrayeta. Someone else? Shri Prahladu Vacha Tat Sadhu Manye Suravarya Dehinam Sada Samudvignadiyam Asatkrahat Hidvatma Patam Griyam Andakupam Vanam Gato Yad Dharim Ashrayeta. Shri Prahladu Vacha Tat Sadhu Manye Suravarya Dehinam Sada Samudvigyam Diyam Asatkrahat Hidvatma Patam Kriyam Andakupam Vanam Gato Yam Dharim Ashayetha. Matajis. Shri Prahladu Vacha tat sadhu manye sura varya dehinam sada samudvigna dhyama satgrahat hidvatma patam griyam andakupam vanam gato yat dharim ashayetha. Shri Prahlad Uvacha. Prahlad Maharaj replied, Tat, that, sadhu, very good or the best part of life. Manye, I think. Asura Varya, O king of the Asuras. Dinam, of persons who have accepted the material body. Sada, always. Samudvigna, full of anxieties. Dhyam, whose intelligence. Asat Grahat, because of accepting the temporary body. Or bodily relations as real. Thinking, I am this body. And everything belonging to this body is mine. Hitva, giving up. Atmapatam, the place where spiritual culture or self-realization is stopped. Griham, the bodily concept of life. Or household life. Andakupam, which is nothing but a blind well, where there is no water, but one nonetheless searches for water. Vanam, to the forest. Gataha, going. Yat, which. Harim, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ashrayeta, may take shelter of. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj replied, O best of the Asuras, king of the demons, as far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because of having fallen in a dark well where there is no water but only suffering. One should give up this position and go to the forest, Vana. More clearly, one should go to Vrindavan, where only Krishna consciousness is prevalent, and should thus take shelter of the Supreme Personality of God. So, before I read the purport, so this is a verse spoken by Prahlad Maharaj to Hiranyakashipu after he asks him, in the verse before, my dear son, please let me know what you think is the best of all the subjects you have studied from your teachers. So this is happening later on again, and then Hiranyakashipu will be really angry, but here he doesn't take it too serious as far as I can remember. This was... He still was not too antagonistic after that. But still here we can hear already his conviction. And he's quite direct in saying to him what he should do or what someone should do who is completely entangled in the material life. He should more or less give it up and become a devotee and even leave his household and go to the forest. And Prabhupada says here, best is go to Vrindavan. So the purport is a bit long. So good luck. We try to listen as good as possible. Hiranyakashipu thought that Prahlad, being nothing but a small boy with no actual experience, might reply with something pleasing but nothing practical. Prahlad Maharaj, however, being an exalted devotee, had acquired all the qualities of education. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana savai gunaistatra samasate suraha harafa bhaktasya kuto mahat guna manorati nasati dhavato bahi. One who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna consistently manifests all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods. However, who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications, because he is engaged by mental concoction in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. So-called educated philosophers and scientists who are simply on the mental platform cannot distinguish between what is actually Sat, eternal, and what is Asat, temporary. The Vedic injunction is Asato ma chyotir gama. Everyone should give up the platform of temporary existence and approach the eternal platform. The soul is eternal, and topics concerning the eternal soul are actually knowledge. Elsewhere it is said, Apashyatam atma tattvam griheshu griha medinam. Those who are attached to the bodily conception of life and who thus stick to life as a grihasta or householder on the platform of material sense enjoyment cannot see the welfare of the eternal soul. Prahlad Maharaj confirmed this by saying that if one wants success in life, he should immediately understand from the right sources what his self-interest is and how he should mold his life in spiritual consciousness. One should understand himself to be part and parcel of Krishna and thus completely take shelter of his lotus feet for guaranteed spiritual success. Everyone in the material world is in the bodily conception, struggling hard for existence life after life. Prahlad Maharaj therefore recommended that to stop this material condition of repeated birth and death, one should go to the forest, Vana. In the Varnashram system, one first becomes a brahmachari, then a grihasta, a vanaprastha, and finally a sannyasi. Going to the forest means accepting vanaprastha life, which is between grihasta life and sannyas. As confirmed in the Vishnu Purana 389, Vanashrama charavata purushena parapuman vishnur aradyate. By accepting the institution of Varna and Ashram, one can very easily elevate himself to the platform of worshipping Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, if one remains in the bodily conception, one must rot within this material world, and his life will be a failure. Society must have divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and for spiritual advancement, one must gradually develop as a brahmachari, grihasta, vanaprastha, and sannyasi. Prahlad Maharaj recommended that his father accept vanaprastha life because, as a grihasta, he was becoming increasingly demoniac due to bodily attachment. Prahlad recommended to his father that accepting vanaprastha life would be better than going deeper and deeper into griham under kupam, the blind well of life as a grihasta. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we therefore invite all the elderly persons of the world to come to Vrindavan and stay there in retired life, making advancement in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Bhangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamahang Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swavadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So yeah, this is actually a quite famous verse, one of the bit more important verses of the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada regularly quoted this verse also in his lectures. So there are of course many important points. So firstly, Prahlad Maharaj addresses his father as the best of the asuras. So there's like a compliment, right? Asurya Varya, you're the best asura. Oh, thank you. Very nice. You understood. So he pushed his ego a bit. And then he speaks clearly that Sada samudvigna dhyam satkrahat, that Dehinam. A Dehinam is an embodied living entity. A soul who has a material body, which is already a big problem for the soul. For us, it seems not to be too much of a problem as long as the body doesn't give us too much trouble. But when we experience that, then we see it clearly. But in general, this is a troublesome situation. Sada samugmina dhyamma satkrahat, because the soul is always diverted and full of anxiety. Prabhu says full of anxiety because of this situation. And it's true, we are always in anxiety. The humans are rarely happy. They always strive for happiness, which means they don't have happiness, and they are always in anxieties. And then anxieties there are so many sources of anxieties in these times. And more or less then Prahlad Maharaj said, why stick to such a problematic situation? Better give it up. Hidvatma patam kriyamanda kupam. Give up that what is against your spiritual interest, against atma patam, which is against your self-interest. You're harming yourself when you stick to the materialistic consciousness. Give that up. And then the famous line, griham anda kupam, very famous words. The griham anda kupam, the dark well of the household life. When I was a brahmachari, this was a very important line to remember. Never fall into this well. Never go there, never look there, never think about it. Oh, it's very dark, it's terrible. So anyway, now fallen. Now I'm fallen. Dark well, where you hope there's some water, but Prabhupada says, you hope there's water, but there's no water. But you always hope for water. It's a blind well, well without the water. So we fell into this dark well. But at the same time, a devotee, even in the household situation, which definitely is can be quite diverting your consciousness. Of course, it's not that you just chant and read Bhagavatam all day long. And you have to do so many things which are not directly that. So we have to learn the art, how to balance, how to get out of this, all our attachments we actually accumulate. Because we understand this is temporary. We might be in a situation where there is some diversion and we have all our enjoyments, but in the end of the day we have to see this will not lead anywhere. No? Prabhupada says Grihastashram is a license for some sense enjoyment. Okay, you fulfill your desires, but understand, don't stick to them until the end. So it's more like a Entzug. How do you say Entzug in English? Like a withdrawal. If someone is addicted, he has to withdraw step by step from all his attachments with the goal of one day being free and being only interested in Krishna, and anything else is for him not interesting anymore. This is the process. So Prahlad Maharaj is definitely an example for a devotee who gets the protection of the Lord. And it's an important topic also of the Bhagavatam. We know the Bhagavatam has 10 topics, right? There are 10 topics of Bhagavatam, which is explained in the 2nd canto, 10th chapter, verse 1. There are 10 topics. And one of these topics is the protection, Poshanam. It's called Poshanam. Satra sarga visargascha, stanam poshanam utaya, manvantaresha nukata, nirodo muktir ashraya. These are the 10 topics of Bhagavatam. And one is Poshanam. And Poshanam means protection. It comes from the Sanskrit root push, which means to nourish, to take care, to facilitate in one sense. So it's not just protection, it's actually the care of the Lord. The Lord takes care of his devotees. And that involves also the direct protection. And Shastra is full of stories, events where Krishna was directly protecting a devotee physically, right? So, but it's not only physical protection, it's also spiritual protection. Because sometimes we seem to not be physically protected, but this is in one sense secondary. It's also about spiritual protection. And it's very often said in Shastra that Krishna always protects the devotee also from a spiritual point of view. Even though he may fall down, even though he's in a complicated situation, he's always protected. Actually, when a devotee falls, he's not falling like a non-devotee. It's actually even said in Bhagavatam. When a devotee falls, he somehow or other diverts from his spiritual practice. He will not be lost. Krishna will not say, oh, you were not chanting today, or you were breaking the regulative principles, or you were watching a movie, or you were eating chocolate, which is one of the worst things you could ever do in your spiritual life. So you're not my devotee anymore. And, I don't care, even if you go to hell or something, there's no protection anymore. Krishna is so radical, he even says, if you do the worst thing imaginable, you are still my devotee. You are still a sadhu. Which is very, very contradictory to think about it, But he says that if you do the worst thing, right, then you are still my devotee. Sudurachara. Sudurachara. The worst. Achara means activity, to do something. Dur means like bad, something bad to do. And su means like very, very bad thing. If you do a very bad thing, still you should be considered a sadhu, a devotee. Yeah. So Krishna really loves his devotees. And he understands it's just a temporary situation. But in the verse it's also said, if you stick to devotional service, doesn't mean because then you can say, okay, I don't do anything for Krishna, I just do whatever I like. But of course then I'm not a devotee. Yeah. So if someone sticks to Krishna, some or other, and he might go through difficult times in life, Krishna will still protect him. Which doesn't mean he gets no reaction. It's not a free pass, I can do whatever. Oh, I'm a devotee, I can do whatever I like. Yeah, I'm a devotee. No karma, you cannot do anything to me, karma. And karma stand there. I will get you one day. No, I'm a devotee. Hare Krishna. I said today, Hare Krishna, so I keep on doing my karmic nonsense stuff. Hare Krishna. No, Krishna can also allow that karma to happen to correct the devotee. Yeah. But in time, it's that Kshipram Bhavati Dharmatma. Very soon, if he sticks to devotional life, very soon he will become Dharma Atma. And Prabhupada translates this as righteous. Right? But Dharma Atma, like his very self, will become again dharmic. It will go back to the right path. It will become good again. Kshipram Bhavati Dharmata Shashvat Shantim Nigachati. And he will achieve everlasting peace. He will become free from all his attachments, his material attachments. And Kauntya Pratichani Hinam He Bhakta Pranashyati. This is very, very important. Where Krishna says, declare boldly that my devotee never perishes. Right? So and Krishna is very emphatic to declare that through Arjuna actually. My devotee is so dear to me, I will always protect him. I'll always protect him. Even when he goes through difficult times and when he suffers, my protection is still there. He will never fall back into the eternal samsara, in this circle of birth and death, in this ocean of material existence. Being lost in this ocean of material existence, it will never happen. I will always be there for him and with him. And push. I will nourish him, I will help him, I will guide him. Yeah. And it's interesting that the material existence is compared to such an ocean. Because it's true, if someone falls, not like a fish, he doesn't care, he's at home in the ocean, but like a human, if he falls in the ocean, he's definitely lost. The ocean is so big, there's no chance to cross the ocean, there's no chance to survive. Like if you book your nice vacation on a nice big ship, they have these vacation ships, these huge vacation ships, which offers all kinds of pleasures. They have a whole city on it, right? It's amazing what you can do there. Yeah, and you say, okay, we go on a little excursion, and you're on the ship, and in the evening you stroll around and look at the sunset, and you trip over like something, and suddenly, you fall into the water, and oh no, from heaven into hell, it goes very quick sometimes. And you say, help me, but everyone is partying, and the ship goes off, and you just see the ship getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and you're in the middle of the ocean, you're lost. And they don't even recognize we lost someone, Maybe you were alone. Maybe your wife did not even recognize. You're not alone, wife. Forgot him. Anyway, you're in the middle of the ocean. What do you want to do? What can you do? Okay, I swim now. Which direction? Okay, I know this direction. There's then somewhere the beach, so I just swim there. What do you want to do? Cannot do anything actually. You try something in your desperation, but you cannot do anything in the middle of the ocean. You're lost. And so it's interesting that the material world is compared to such an ocean, and all the living entities, they are somewhere inside, they're completely lost in this samsara, getting born and die and born and die and get born and die in all kinds of living forms with no hope of ever getting out. Yeah? We have no chance. Only if Krishna takes care of us. And then if someone surrenders to Krishna even a little bit, only a small endeavor on this path will protect from the greatest type of fear. So that's why it's so important that we engage in this in the Sankirtan mission, that people can make at least some little thing for Krishna, because Krishna is very grateful and will not forget it. And say, oh, you did something for me. You took a book, you gave a donation, very nice to a devotee, you took some prasadam or chant Hare Krishna, whatever. This is already a huge thing. After an eternal life of non-bhakti. The souls have like an eternal life of non-bhakti. It's beginningless. It's at anadi. It's beginningless. There is no knowing when it started. And there was only Maya, life after life, nothing for Krishna. And suddenly, just a small thing, it's already huge. Like this, the percentage, how to say, it's like unlimited, compared to this unlimited time. Suddenly, just one laddu is already a huge spike in his devotional development. And Krishna takes it serious and says, okay, I will take care of you, I will help you, I will guide you. And so this poshanam, this protection is there from the Lord, and the devotee should be very convinced of that. It's not always easy, right? This is like the main argument for atheists. The main argument for atheists is why there is suffering. It's called theodice. I don't know how to say it in English. The theodice problem. Exactly this problem. How can there be suffering? If God is almighty, and all loving, how can he allow all that suffering? And this is where the atheists are really hung up on this point. So, devotees should be still convinced. No, whatever suffering happens, Krishna is still with me, and it's my karma, and it's my lesson in life, and it's not easy, but Krishna is with me. And it shall not break the faith of a devotee, even though it's very difficult at times. And you never know when the next problem is coming. You never know when the next problem is coming. It's waiting around the corner, for sure. Yes. And you never know. It comes in different forms. And so we should expect it. We should understand, when I go around the corner, maybe there's some problem waiting for me. And whatever it is, small or big, you never know. You go home, you want to go home after work, and you expect a happy family life situation, and you open the door and there's all chaos there. Wife is already, why is so late, and this and that, and you were not expecting that. Other way around. Or some letters. I hate letters. No, I don't hate letters. We shouldn't hate, but letters. I don't like letters because they're most of the time not good, especially if there's something written Finanzamt or something like this. They are not so nice letters, no? Oh no, why a letter? Because letters are most of the time like some special information. So, you never know what's inside. You never know. I don't want to open it. I hope it's not too big of a bill. No, just. Right. What was this example? If you lose you lose 20 euros, you go on the street, or like 50 or 100 euros. Let's say you lose 100 euros. You're in a shop and you paid something, and then later on you realize, oh my God, I lost 100 euros. You don't like it. Okay, someone say, completely detached. Loss or gain. I'm detached, or. As said in Bhagavad Gita, gold or stones or pebbles, it's all the same, Most of the time not. Also when I was Sankirtan devotee and was counting Lakshmi, even when there was something missing, was not right, it was not pleasing, right? It's not pleasing if you lose 100 euros. So you're a little bit disturbed and you search for it and this and that, but in the end it's gone somehow or other, you lost it. Yeah, you have to live with the reality, and then with time, okay, whatever, my karma, whatever, or maybe, okay, you have to somehow detach from this attachment. And maybe it works out. But in a similar situation, imagine you drive too fast. Are there some drivers of you? Someone is driving cars? Yes. You ever drove just a little bit too fast? Never. You all, law-abiding citizens, right? 100, 100, 50, 50, 30, 30. I'm driving 30. Exactly, Yes? Okay, very good. That's very good. Secure. So those who love, they are the fast drivers, huh? 35 is almost 30, right? And 100, when you drive 100, 110, if there's a radar, 110 is still in the area where they not blink, right? 108, 108. 100 is 108. Better 108 or than 100. This is more auspicious. Double 108 is 216. 216, better, right? 216, better, right? Of course, yeah. So you drive a little bit too fast and ping! You ever had this ping on the freeway? Oh no! Just theoretically speaking, of course. So, doesn't feel good. And then you get a letter that says, "We caught you. Is this you?" They show it right. Is it you? No, it's not me. It wasn't me. I had to write them, yes, it was me. And then they write, okay, 500 euros. Und ein paar Punkte in Flensburg. Anyway, 500 euros. And you think, oh God, 500 euros. And then 2 weeks later comes another letter. Sorry, we made a miscalculation. Only 250 euros. Oh, let's say 100 euros. Only 100 euros. Okay, only 100. How do you feel? Wow, 100 euros! Only 100 euros. Take my 100 euros. I'm so happy to pay 100 euros. Huh? And the same 100 euros you lost before, we're like, oh no, I have to give it away. I lost it, and there 100 euros. Of course, it's just a relation. It's just a relation. Huh? Yeah, it can happen. Krishna protects you. They say, oh, thank you, Krishna. Right? You say, thank you, Krishna. Like once I got a letter, actually I got a letter like this. This was not so difficult to tell it in an animated way because I got such a letter. Is it you? And I was doing a bit too fast. And I calculated how much will it be. Oh my God, it will be for sure 300 euros or something. I don't know how much it will be. Oh no. And I said, yes, it was me. And so and I sent a letter. And then 2 weeks later came another letter. And he said, thank you very much. We stopped our investigation. You don't have to pay anything. And I thought, I don't know what's going on here, This is real letter from Krishna. And to date, I don't know what happened, Maybe because I wrote my name and he knew me or something. Or I don't know. Maybe he watches my videos on YouTube. I don't know. Really, I thought, well, how can that be? Oh, it's him. No, we don't say him. I don't know. How can that be, Anyways, thank you, Krishna. Whatever it is, thank you. Poshanam. He protected me. Yeah. And I learned something, to not drive too crazy. Not too crazy. Anyway, I needed another situation to learn that. But anyway, let's change the topic. So, the protection is there, and but life is very difficult. It's really true. This when Prabhu says we are always full of anxieties. We are always in anxieties. Right? Devotees definitely less in anxiety, I would say, I hope. But still devotees are also in anxiety about so many things, especially in family life, especially when you have a child. It's just amazing how much anxiety there is actually. Yeah. Of course, and the more we have, the more anxieties are there. As in this famous episode when Prithu Prabhu, he told me the story, asked George Harrison. Everyone still knows George Harrison. Maybe some of the younger devotees might not know George Harrison. Sometimes happens. The older we become, the less we know the famous people who were famous at that time. Like recently I was on the table with some Sankirtan devotees and new devotees. And just out of curiosity I asked, who of you knows Harinamananda? And sorry, Prabhu, I meant the other one. And I expected something, but I was still amazed that they did not know Harinamananda. Just out of fun here. Who knows Harinamananda except Harinamananda? Who knows Harinamananda? So like 50%, And it's amazing. Harinamananda was at his time in the 90s the best Sankirtan devotee of the whole world from Switzerland. He was the best of the best. He was like gold standard. And if you would say you are ISKCON devotee and you don't know who is Harinamananda, then something went wrong in your spiritual development or something. I don't know what's wrong with you. So like almost you don't know who is. I don't know nowadays like Indradyumna Swami or I don't know. Like he was famous. But now already 50% of his fame is gone. Right? Time takes this away. In the next 10, 20 years, 25% of in 100, 200 years, nobody will know him anymore. And so like time takes all that away. Like we might be known or we might have our relationships and all that, but all that will be gone and there will be a time when nobody knows our name, nobody knows us, there's no remembrance of us anymore. We're completely dissolved. We're dissolved in Asche zu Asche, Staub zu Staub, Asche zu Asche. Everything is gone. We are gone. Even our name, not even the name remains. Even though the Bhagavatam says the world is the world of names. It's also interesting phrasing. The material world is just the world of names. There's no substance behind it. But even the names will be gone. My whole existence will be completely erased from the history of the world. So anyway, George Harrison was asked by, my sweet Lord, right? Okay, and all that. All things must pass. He said also, no? All things must pass. So Prita Prabhu asked him, George, how much money did you make since the beginning of the year? And it was somewhere in the middle of the year, and he said some crazy number like 30 million pounds or whatever, 50, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, and then Prita Prabhu asked him, and how happy are you now? How happy does this make you? And of course, George Harrison, he was quite realized person. He said, for every pound I have one worry. For every pound I have one anxiety. Right? So the more you have, the mind might be attracted to all kinds of wonderful things. The more you have, but the more trouble you will have in your mind too, because you can lose it. The more beautiful your car is, the more anxiety you have that someone will scratch it or something. If your Lamborghini parked here in front, on the lawn there or something, you will have a lot of anxiety because, oh my God, all these devotees driving in, transcendental devotees especially, You will worry about my Lamborghini, Will be quite difficult, no? Or even more troublesome, like money, money. I never want to lose money. So the more money you have, the more you can lose. And anyway, the government takes it away and where to invest and what this and that. So it's true, the less you have, the less worries you have. So simple living, definitely. And the other thing, of course, family, children. So much worry, especially for the mother. The mother is like, oh my God, there's something happening to him. Oh, where's he running? Oh, don't jump here. Oh, don't. And the boys, especially in a certain age, they do all that things which the mother actually hates, Climb on the tree, ride the bike, try this and that. Mommy cannot jump down from here. No. And the father says, yes. Father says, very good boy. Like recently my son was jumping down from the table in our apartment, My wife, and I said, oh, very good. That was a good jump. Oh, look, Daddy. So, yeah, worries. So many worries. So always worries. And this is our situation. And it's not getting better anyway. It's not getting better. The older you get, the body is getting more frail. And it's like the sad story continues. With no happy end, there will be a real terrible end. No, a real terrible end. That's material life. It's destined to become, everything is terrible. Right? But a devotee sees it from the positive point of view, from the positive side. Everything temporary, yeah, of course. We know the reality. We shouldn't be shocked. Even death, I think Devaki Mataji will give a whole seminar on that, or a lecture or something. Huh? How to happily embrace death or something. Wasn't it the title? Good title. Right? But it's true. Devotee should have a positive outlook towards the end of his life. Right? Yeah. Now I'm young, reasonably young. It's still okay to some degree. I have all I need. Krishna takes care. Poshanam, he protects, he nourishes. Krishna says, I give that what you need, and I protect that what you have. And also all the material things, especially grihastas. They should be very grateful for that what they have. It's amazing that we can have what we have. And we need these things. Our mind needs that. We need certain, family, wife. We need wife, we need a child, we need money, we need some little standard. Some more, some less. And Krishna gives it to you. It's amazing. Sometimes devotees come here, which are new from the past, who were brahmacharis, now with huge cars, have big balls, so much money and whatever. Sometimes. Not always. They're also more the transcendental devotees. Yeah. So, Krishna gave it to him. And he's entitled to enjoy it in connection with Krishna. Yes. Here, if you read further, the story of Prahlad Maharaj, when Nrsimhadev says, I'm so pleased with you. What do you want? I want to give you something. And Prahlad says, no, I want nothing. I'm your servant. This would be like merchant business. I don't want that. I want to serve you. I want to love you. It was almost not an insult, of course, but he said, of course I don't want anything. I'm a pure devotee. I just want to love and serve you. And Krishna says, very nice, but still, I give it anyways to you. I give all the enjoyments you can imagine to you. You become the king of this, was then Sutala, no? But still it was like amazing. The king of Sutala, all the enjoyment, all whatever you like, yes. Yeah. You will not become bewildered anyway by it. No? Of course, Prahlad Maharaj did not need that, but we need that. We need a certain enjoyment, and we should say, thank you, Krishna. Then that I have a nice wife, a nice child, a nice car, some money, and I will use it in your service, and I will get purified from it, and I will get detached from it, and then I can go to the forest. Yeah, Vanaprastha. And the devotee, the Grihastha devotee, actually is looking towards that. It will be so nice when I will be purified, and when I will be done with my material duties, because this enjoyment is also bound to duties, of course. And when he in parallel practices Krishna consciousness, chanting every day's rounds and reading the books and doing some devotional service, he will get a higher taste also. And he will see, I don't need all that anymore. I'm happy if I can only engage in Krishna service. I'm looking forward to the day when my son is 18. That will be a wonderful day, the birthday of 18. So, my dear son, here's the door. And behind, the whole world for you. It's time. So, of course, this will be the worst day for the mother. Understandable. I want to keep him forever. Yeah, and the father says, no, he should do something. No. And I'm free. So actually, a Vedic point of view, even 16 already. So we are more, Krishna is even more merciful with us now. 16. Now you are grown up. Yeah. And what will you do then with all the time you have when your family duties are done? Yeah. You will not do like the karmis, vikarmis, whatever, materialists. They are also looking towards that. When will I go into rente? When will my children be big and I will be free from work? Then they buy themselves a big Wohnmobil, right? A camper, and drive through the whole country, and we enjoy life, right? Right? They want to enjoy. In rente, they want to enjoy. When they are old, they want to enjoy. But the devotee enjoys in different ways. He says, I will enjoy Krishna consciousness. I will chant more, read more, I will go to holy places. I'm free, I don't have to work anymore. Children are grown up, everything fine. The wife hopefully also inspired like that. Yeah, let's do that. We will live now vanaprastha life. Great. This is like luxury for a devotee. Complete luxury. Yeah. So Krishna protects us in a material way, in a spiritual way, and even in the worst of situations, he will protect us. And I want to end with a more serious note, or let's say like that, that when many years ago I read Prabhupada's letters and statements concerning the Third World War. And Prabhupada said a lot about Third World War actually. And he said that when 50 years have passed, then there will be, like more or less, everything will fall apart. And this he wrote in 1956. So this 50 years have passed. 1956. 1956. In an article, in the Back to Godhead article. I think it was Back to Godhead. And then he said also, and I don't want to scare anyone, but I just find it interesting at least, that Prabhupada said the Third World War will start. And why? It's because of India and Pakistan. And yesterday night India attacked Pakistan. All right, because of... So we never know what will happen. So it must not happen, because India and Pakistan, they are in a clinch since a long time actually. So when I was like 6-7 years ago, something in India, there was also attack already. There was some Bombay terrorist attack, and then there was some attack from India, Pakistan. There was also something. And when I was in the airport, I met some devotees, Indian devotees, said, oh, maybe a huge war starts now, we don't know, should we stay here in Delhi or this and that? So there was already a fear. It's always this fear there, especially in North India. So might not become a huge thing, hopefully not. But you never know, and this is the reality. This is a very, very unstable world we're living in, and war is... And actually, some of you are connected, maybe in these countries where there is a war, so this is a reality for them already, right? And some 30 years ago in Yugoslavia was also a big war. It was amazing. Not amazing, in a negative way. It was crazy. So, and there, or in Palestine and all that. So this is a reality. I personally never experienced it, except when I was a kid and I was in Austria in my holidays on the camping platz with my grandparents and swimming as a child, playing around when I was 10 years ago old. And there were these fighter jets flying over to go into Yugoslavia, right, for the war, because it was close to Yugoslavia, ex-Yugoslavia. But besides that, and of course being in the army, but besides that, I never experienced like war and this tension. But there are devotees and who experience that in a real way. So you never know when it's happening. And this shouldn't scare us. It should make us more careful, but it should make us turn more towards Krishna. Actually, in one sense, this is not too bad. In that sense, it's good, because we know how we are, right? We are devotees, serious, yeah, but still there's a tendency for, not using all our time in Krishna service. Let's say like this. Yeah. And it should make us more serious, man. I have no time now, right? You never know what happens. And big war is, of course, a big problem, but any problem can come. And what do you need in a problem situation? What do you need? You need Krishna consciousness. This is the only thing you need then. Krishna consciousness and Krishna's protection. And you don't want to be bewildered. So that means we should not waste time and sit all day long. We should say, oh my God, I have no time for wasting time. I have no time for that. These are time killers. I should chant now, prepare for the worst, which can happen any moment. Any moment. Some problem, some little pain here. Oh, I go to the doctor. Oh my, I'm very sorry, you have some cancer. You have just 20 days more. Or some war, or some weird letter of some, oh, we take all your money away. You forgot to pay some taxes or something, or you never know. Very, very shaky. What is this in this song? Is Bhaja Hure Mana Shinandanandana? Where's this? What is this? Chalamala? This line where it said, Who remembers? The material life is like a drop of water on the lotus petal, because it can any moment this drop slips, because the lotus petal is so slippery, so to say. Yeah, so we are like this drop on this lotus petal. Any second, something can happen. And as I say that, I don't believe it. This is the most crazy thing. I want to communicate that, but I don't believe it. I just can think of devotees who have this experience. So suddenly, oh, I have this disease, or suddenly someone dies, or suddenly there's a war, or suddenly I say, oh, it's really true, and why should it not happen to me? Of course, I'm like in Glückspilz, in German say Glückspilz. I always ride on the fortunate street, or so to say. Now, my life was easy, everything fine, okay. Maybe it goes on till the end, but maybe not. Never know. But all that, that's why also Prabhu it said this verse, Matya Krishna Paratos Vatova Metopi Padita Kriyavratanam. What is this verse? Where it said, either you learn from Krishna, you learn about Krishna through the instruction of others or through your own experience, but either way, somehow or other understand this point. So either I don't have such a realization of all these troubles, but at least I can think of devotees who have this, and should bring me to a realization, I want to surrender now more in my life. And Prahlad Maharaj is this wonderful example who was in this problematic situation, was super surrendered. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your kind attention. We have a little time for a question or two. Yes, please. In the back.
I want to ask something about what you mentioned at the beginning of the lecture, that a devotee, even though he commits the most abominable action, he still should be considered a devotee.
Yes.
My question is, how should our attitude and association with such a devotee change, or if it should change or not?
Yes, very good question, because as I said, the verse is very controversial. It's a controversial topic. So the verse is from Bhagavad Gita, of course. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mama nanyapak sadur what is it? Sadur, what is it? Manyat, what is it? I came through. Sadur, Mantavya? And the last line? Apichet suduracharo bhajate mama nanyapak sadur eva saman. Anyway, messed it up. Maybe someone can look it up. 9:30. Samyak Vyasito Isa. So, and there Krishna says, if someone does the most abominable activity, he should be considered, but the word is manyate or something. Manyate. Considered, he should be thought of as a sadhu. Sadhu means like a holy person, right? So, and this to the point, how should you associate? If there's really someone, a devotee, who does really terrible things, and we all have experience of that, also in our movement, of course, that means you should think like that, but your behavior and association with such a devotee definitely changes, right? But you should not hate him. You should think, he's a devotee, he's a very fallen devotee. He's a devotee who is very conditioned. But still, he's on his path. He's not a non-devotee. He's a devotee. He's someone who is loved by Krishna. Krishna will take care of him. He has to go through all kinds of terrible things. He did terrible things, which is terrible. This is not good. And my association, definitely, this means respect from the distance. Yeah, respect for the distance. I cannot associate with him. He's too bad. Maybe there's someone who's so bad you cannot associate, but still you should think he is a holy person. And there should be all facility given to such a person, or he should still be allowed to practice devotional service. This is a very important point. Because in our movement, we had devotees who did very, very terrible things. And in the name of this verse, they were still allowed to be guru sannyasis or persons in high positions. In name of this verse, which is wrong. He should not be a guru. He should not be a sannyasi. He should not stay in power and responsibility. But he should be allowed to chant Hare Krishna, to reform himself. This is what Krishna says. He should stick to his devotional practice. But he cannot be in any spiritual position, so to say, in the institution. Right? That means, okay, you have to go away, right? In some setting, whatever, but chant Hare Krishna and read Bhagavatam. Of course, we will not take that away from you. But we will take your guru, being guru away from you, sannyas, and all that we take away from you. Because you're not qualified, you're fallen. Right? So, but we should think he's a devotee and we will let him practice his Krishna consciousness. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, because in the name of this verse, oh no, he's still sannyasi, guru, whatever. Nonsense, right? He's not. He's very terrible. He has terrible anarthas. Okay, something else? We had something else?
I had the same thought at the time of
Yeah. Yes, you're very right. I'm also thinking we should always stop on time. I think 2 minutes over is still okay. So thank you very much for your kind attention. I wish you a wonderful festival. I hope we can end in a positive note, even on the serious topics. But we will have lots of wonderful association. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.